For decades, Jasper Hale was one of the Cullens, silent, observant, lethal when necessary, kind once he learned how to be. He and Alice were inseparable, seemingly bound by a thread that neither time nor thirst could break. With the others, Jasper was reserved but loyal, sometimes distant, always present. But what no one knew was that Jasper hadn't joined just for love. Years earlier, after escaping Maria and her army of newborns in the south, Jasper wandered, hungry, wounded, on the verge of losing the last of his conscience. That's when the Volturi found him. Caius, interested in his history as a commander, Jane, curious about his emotional control, and Aro saw his entire past with a single touch, his brutality, his guilt, his desire for redemption, and also his vulnerability. "You can still serve," Aro said then. "Not everyone deserves a second chance, but you can earn yours." They offered him a deal: infiltrate, observe, report. There were rumors of a different clan in America, the Vegetarians. Aro wanted to know if they were a threat, and so, when Jasper met Alice, who had seen him before he found her, and was guided to the Cullens, he was already on a mission. For decades, Jasper complied, not enthusiastically, but with precision. Small reports, sent mentally when he was away, changes in Carlisle's behavior, details about Renesmee when she was born, even tensions with the Law-Push wolves. He never directly betrayed them, but he was never completely free, and over time, loyalty became a cage. What the Volturi didn't account for was the change within, because Jasper, little by little, stopped pretending. He fell deeply in love with Alice, admired Carlisle's faith, learned to trust Emmett, respect Rosalie, laugh with Bella, protect Edward. He learned, for the first time in centuries, to feel like part of something. A family. But everything shattered with a single message. Not written, not spoken. A mental order, sent by an emissary of Aro during a diplomatic visit. It's time. Divide the Cullens from within. Create a fracture. Make them fall apart, or it will be your last mission. Jasper felt his world split in two. He couldn't betray them, but he couldn't run either. Because if he disobeyed, the Volturi wouldn't just destroy him. They could use his knowledge to destroy the Cullens completely. Everything he knew, every weakness, every secret would become a weapon, and he was the key. The days that followed were silent. Jasper tried to act normal, but Alice noticed immediately. "Your energy is off," she whispered one night. "I'm tired," he lied. But Alice didn't believe him. And that night, she had a vision: fire, rupture, betrayal. She didn't know where it came from, only that Jasper wasn't with them. Bella noticed too. "Is Jazz okay?" Edward shook his head without speaking, because he had heard something dark in his brother's thoughts, though Jasper shielded himself well. Edward couldn't read him fully, but he felt the storm. Finally, Jasper went up to the attic and stared out the window. The lights of the house illuminated faces he knew by heart: family, purpose, life. And for the first time since he was human, Jasper Hale cried. The next morning, he was gone without a trace. No note, no explanation, just his empty room and a small box on Alice's bed. With a handwritten letter. "I can't hurt them, but I can't stay either. Alice, forgive me. This isn't the story we imagined, but I can still write another ending." The Cullen family went into crisis. Had Jasper betrayed them? Fallen back into his old life? Was he running? Only Alice refused to believe it. "He didn't leave me, not by choice." And as the days passed and the Volturi began to move in silence, a figure traveled through Europe in the shadows: Jasper Hale. Not as a spy, not as a soldier, but as someone who had made a choice. He would not betray his family, but he would not leave them unprotected. And if he wanted to close his past, he would have to face it, alone. Volterra greeted him with a silence thick as dried blood. The black doors opened for him without a touch. He didn't need to announce himself. He wasn't hiding. He knew they were waiting, and he knew he might not walk back out. The main hall was empty when he entered, but the echo of his decision followed every step. Then Aro appeared. No guards, no ceremony, no smile. "Have you done it?" Aro asked bluntly. "Have they divided?" Jasper held his gaze. His voice was steady. "No, and I won't." Silence. Long, uncomfortable. Aro walked slowly toward him, hands clasped behind his back. "So you've come to surrender? I came to tell you I'm not your weapon, not your spy, not your shadow." Aro nodded, as if it confirmed what he already knew. "So you've chosen?" "Yes, and you've betrayed." "No, I've chosen a family." Caius and Jane arrived quickly. Alec, too, like a silent shadow. The air thickened like a storm before lightning. Caius scoffed, furious. So what now? We just let him walk away? After decades of service? Jane raised a hand. Let me try something, she said sharply. She extended her gift toward Jasper. A wave of illusory fire seared his nervous system. But Jasper didn't scream, didn't bend, didn't fall. Because he'd endured years of guilt, of silent betrayal, of living torn in two. And compared to that, this didn't hurt as much. Aro raised his hand. Enough. Jane stepped back reluctantly. Let him go, Aro ordered. Caius whipped his head around. What? We don't need him. Not as he is now, and I'm not interested in destroying someone who's finally chosen who he wants to be. Aro looked at Jasper with a mix of respect, disappointment, and something like pride. Your heart was always divided, Jasper. Now it's whole, and it no longer belongs to us. Jasper turned without another word. And as he passed through the doors of Volturi for the last time, the weight of centuries fell from his shoulders. He returned to Forks weeks later. Not right away, not out of fear, but because he needed time to face what he feared most, forgiveness. When he appeared on the Cullen porch, he carried no bags, no prepared words. He just stood before them, waiting. Emmett was the first to break the silence. You came back? Yes, Jasper replied, his voice lower than ever. For what? To tell the truth. And to stay, if you'll still have me. It was a long night, not of shouting, but of truths. Jasper told everything, from the first contact with Aro, the silent years, the coded reports, the final order. No one spoke at first, not Edward, not Carlyle, not Bella, not Esme, until Alice stood. She walked up to him and slapped him, hard, then hugged him, even harder. I could hate you, she whispered, but I never stopped seeing you. I did lose myself, he said, then find yourself here, with us. The following days were strange. Carlyle welcomed him back, as he always had for those seeking redemption. Esme embraced him with tears she couldn't cry. Emmett dragged him into training, wordless, like old times. Rosalie stayed distant, but not cruel. Edward was the last to approach. He found him alone in the forest, days later. I can't read your thoughts, he said, but I heard your soul. Jasper looked down. And what did it say? Edward sighed. That you wanted to change. And that's worth more than any vision. Time passed. It didn't erase everything, but it built. Jasper began teaching emotional defense to newborns arriving in Forks seeking new lives. He became a kind of mentor to vampires who, like him, had served dark masters. He slowly earned what he had longed for most, trust. One afternoon, Alice took him to the clearing where they had once trained together. Do you remember what you promised me the day you came to Forks? Jasper shook his head with a smile. You said someday you'd stop running. She held out her hand. That day is here. Jasper Hale would never be perfect. He'd never fully forget who he had been. But he learned to be more than his past. And when he walked through the forest, surrounded by family, by peace, by light filtering through the trees, he knew he finally belonged to something. By choice, not by command. And that was the greatest gift he could have imagined.